Hello there, it is so nice to see you again. Welcome to another writing vlog. It's going to be a fun one, I think. Or at least I'm very much feeling in the mood for filming a writing vlog and also doing a shit ton of writing, so I think it's gonna be a fun one. If you're new here, my name is Marta. I'm an aspiring author currently working on the second draft of the second book of my debut trilogy, which I call Project Sight. And I am very excited to keep working on that. I am aiming to finish the second draft of the second book by the end of the year. We are currently halfway through October, just about, and the original goal was to be done with Act 2 by the end of September, so I'm trying to do one act per quarter. So we're a little bit behind, but I actually have some time off in late October, so I'm really hoping that's gonna help me catch up a little bit. And I plan on having a super productive writing weekend this weekend as well, which is also hopefully going to help me catch up a little bit. In terms of where I'm currently at, I'm currently doing the second pass through the second act of the second draft of the second book. This is getting silly, but yes, I'm trying to do 2 passes per act. So when I did the prep for the second draft, I did some brainstorming, I did some re-outlining, but I've only really been doing the detailed re-outlining act by act. So what I'm doing when I finish each act is going back through the whole thing, both as a quick sort of consistency check, another line pass and stuff like that, and anything that I might have missed, but also as a reminder to myself of where I'm at and just trying to get familiar again with some of the things that I wrote like a couple of months ago that I might have forgotten, because after I'm done with the second pass of the second act, I am going to be doing some brainstorming and re-outlining for Act 3, and there's going to be a lot more developmental and planning work going on, so I want to make sure that the story is as fresh in my brain as it can be. So that's what's going on at the minute. However, this time round for Act 2, I actually skipped 2 chapters during that first pass. One of them is the fight scene that I talked about extensively in my last video, and I've decided that that fight scene is going to be a draft 3 problem. There is no way that I am going to be able to go through this entire art course. I talked about this in a lot of detail in my last video, so I'm not gonna go into it, but I'm doing an art course that's about creature design because I'm stuck on a fight scene that requires me to design a creature so that my characters can fight a creature. I think that fight scene is just gonna have to stay on hold for now, but the other chapter that I also skipped is far less complicated. I only really skipped it because as I was writing, I realized that that chapter really should happen earlier on, but I didn't notice that until I got to it, so at that point I could have written it, moved it to early and then jumped forwards in time again, but because it's a subplot chapter, I didn't want to be jumping around and taking my own attention away from the main plot for a subplot chapter, and it just didn't feel like the right time to be doing that because I was really interested in the main plot at that moment. So I just made a note, moved the chapter backwards but didn't write it, and kept going. So that chapter still needs to be written, and that's actually the next chapter that I need to do in the second pass through. So writing that one chapter is gonna be my main priority this weekend. Ideally, I would really like to finish that pass through Act 2 altogether and potentially even start thinking about Act 3 just this weekend, like today and tomorrow, but at the very least, we gotta finish that one chapter. Because I'm also juggling the fact that I'm going to be traveling in the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna be visiting family and I wanna keep writing while I'm there, but doing heavy sort of brainstorming, developmental, re-outlining work for Act 3 is not a super feasible thing to be doing while I'm with family, because there's gonna be a lot of interruptions. It's gonna be much less focused work. So what I'd really like to make sure I do in this vlog, which will probably be going up until the moment I go on holidays, it's just gonna be making sure that I have all of that difficult focused thinking work out of the way, that I have detailed bullet point outlines for most of the chapters at the very least, that I'm gonna be writing while I'm traveling, and that I can just follow these bullet points and just draft but not have to plan while I'm traveling. I'm traveling midweek, so I have 2 weekends left, but I have plans on one of those weekends and I have plans this evening as well. But today I'm not actually going anywhere for a little while yet. I think I have maybe 4 or 5 hours before I need to head out. So what I would like to do, as you might have seen in the intro, I made pumpkin cookies yesterday. They are absolutely delicious. I am so happy with how they turned out. They don't taste very much like pumpkin, but they taste delicious, so close enough. So I want to make myself a full teapot of tea, and I want to have that by my desk, and I want to have some pumpkin cookies, and I just want to make sure that I have all of the writing drinks and writing snacks that I'm gonna need to sit at my desk for the next 4 hours and just get this chapter out and just have a really long and chunky focused writing session, and I am so excited. Hello. You know, I'm having a weird day when the penguin mug gets taken out of the cupboard. The penguin mug is an emergency cheering up mug only. But I feel like I needed it today. I have a personal rule where I try to only film videos when I feel like filming videos. I don't want to come across like I don't want to be here, so I don't talk to you if I'm feeling low energy or like just not really in the mood for it. And that's perfectly good, and I'm glad that I have that rule, but what that means is that a lot of times when I don't feel like filming, I usually also don't feel like writing. So a lot of my videos can come across like I always feel like writing, but that's just not the case. It's just that usually the two things are linked for me. And at the minute, I actually feel like talking to you and don't feel like writing, which is very unusual. And we're gonna take advantage of it by having like a bit of a more honest catch up, or I wouldn't say more honest because it's not like I'm normally not being honest. It's just that you don't always see the full picture. But yes, writing's been a bit strange lately. I mean, you saw my update from yesterday. I was super excited to be writing yesterday. And I think something that's just been happening a lot for me recently is that I've been flip-flopping. I've been having days where I'm really motivated and super high energy and super up for writing, and I have a really good writing day. And then days where I just like, I'm trying to write every single day at the minute, but I'm only trying to do 10 minutes a day. And there's been days where those 10 minutes feel like pulling teeth, and even just sitting down for 10 minutes feels like far too much. Today I've done an hour, so you know, far more than 10 minutes, but considering it's Sunday and I've also done nothing else with my time, not very much. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to have a chat and sort of like explore where some of this is coming from. So we're basically playing writing therapy and you're the therapist. Congratulations on the job promotion. But yeah, I just wanted to unravel some of that because I think there's a couple of things behind that, and the main one is this stage which I'm at. I feel like this is not my first rodeo, it's the second book in this trilogy. It's also the second draft of this book, and I've written 4 drafts of the previous book. And a very common trend for me is that after, usually around the end of Act 2 actually, but it's also like after a certain amount of time, I start getting a little bit tired of the story, and I usually pull myself out of it, and it usually gets better by the time I jump back into Act 3. I generally just seem to be having problems with that, like second half of Act 2 is something that I generally find difficult. So part of me, a big part of me, is hoping that this is just that I am just at that point in the draft where it's getting difficult, but we're gonna keep writing, we're gonna keep going, and we're gonna get out of it. Fairly soon, hopefully. I've only got 5 chapters left in Act 2 to go through. And I think if I genuinely like stop to think about it, I am excited to get into Act 3, which is a good sign. It means that this might actually be a viable theory to why writing has been feeling so weird. But it's not the only theory, because something that is new to this particular draft, something that I don't think I was doing for any of the previous drafts of any of the previous books, is that I'm writing consistently at the minute. It's been just over 5 months, which is honestly insane that I have written every day for 5 months. I genuinely don't think I've ever had that level of consistency towards any hobby, really. 5 months of daily writing is insane, and I am so proud of that. And I'm gonna talk about the whole consistency thing in a different video. This is something that I'm not ready to talk about yet because it's still an ongoing challenge, and it's something that I want to have like a longer amount of data before I go into it in depth. But I'm starting to wonder if there's some burnout beginning to happen. And it's a theory. There are multiple theories as to why writing is hard at the minute. This is one of them. I'm really hoping it is not this one, because writing every day has been honestly one of the best decisions I've taken this year. I am so happy with the amount of progress I've made, but also with finding my spark again and just finding that joy towards writing and towards the story again. I don't think I ever stopped loving the project, but the amount that I love the project has gone up since I've been writing and working on it more. So the fact that I'm now suspecting this thing that's brought me so much joy, this daily writing habit that's brought me so much joy, of being the cause of writing not going well and of writing feeling a bit like a chore recently, doesn't fill me with a lot of hope. I'm 95% sure the consistency is not the problem here, but it is a potential problem. Like this morning I was genuinely thinking like, okay, what if I take a week off? How does that make me feel? And the idea of taking a week off writing right now sounds very appealing. And I don't think I'm ready to throw in the towel yet, because I don't think that's the problem. But if I go through these other series and like if it's still a problem in a couple of weeks time, then maybe that will be the right strategy. It's not my plan A, but it is a potential plan. Further down the line, we might just abandon the whole consistency thing and actually take a break, because human beings need breaks sometimes. Now, the other potential reason why writing has been feeling weird recently, and I kind of hope that it's this one. I mean, it's probably a mixture of this one and the first reason, or it could be all three, or it could be something else. I don't know what I'm even talking about at this point, but the other thing that's been potentially bothering me is that I've been putting a lot of pressure on myself recently. It's October, which means that we've got this like super productive writing energy going on in the writing community. It's various end of year writing challenges are popping up, various NaNoWriMo replacements are popping up. And I want to finish my book by the end of the year. That's not a new thing, that's something that I decided a year ago and that I'm still on track on and still want to like continue honoring and continue aiming for that. But now the end of the year is actually getting close, so that goal that was something abstract and way off in the future when I said it, and that was feasible at the time and is still feasible with the same amount of weekly progress. It's not like anything's changed other than the fact that time has passed and that we're getting close to that deadline. Yeah, it's entirely psychological is what I'm trying to say. So that could be a factor, but also the fact that I'm going on holiday soon, and then that is my last scheduled holiday this year before the book should be done according to that imaginary deadline that I've set for myself, that doesn't really mean anything because the passage of time is not something we can quantify, and the 1st of January is just a date. But for some reason there is that pressure to finish the book this year, and this is my last opportunity to get a significant amount of progress done, to catch up on that little bit behind that I'm currently at, to really get this on track, to make the rest of the year continuing to work on this book while I'm actually working 40 hours a week as feasible as possible. And I think if I were to go on holidays tomorrow, given where I currently am in the process, I would not get very much done, because I don't think that this family visit and like what I'm planning on doing with my holiday is very conductive to brainstorming and plotting and outlining. It would be so much better if I got that done beforehand and just wrote while I'm away. But that means that I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself to get to that point where I'm ready to outline and have done the outlining by the end of basically a week now. I have 1 week to do all of that, and I'm putting a lot of pressure to actually get a lot of writing done during my holiday as well. And if you pair it with the fact that I'm at this end of Act 2 process, that I'm not feeling super good about the chapter I ended up writing yesterday, it didn't feel quite right. I kind of want to revisit it, but it also feels like I'm wasting my time going back over it because I need to finish all of this before I go on holidays. It has not been going very well. And I think the other side of it, all of this is really interconnected if you think about it, but I've been putting a lot more attention on accomplishments, like getting certain chapters done, getting a certain number of chapters done per week, as opposed to just sitting down and working on it. And this is why I love that like consistency of writing every day, because the accomplishment at the end of each day is having sat down and having done 10 minutes of writing, and that's it. It doesn't matter what I got done, it doesn't matter if I finished a chapter, if I wrote 1 sentence, if I just brainstormed for 10 minutes. I got some writing done, and that's all that I need for it to be a good writing day. And at the minute that is no longer the case, because I need to get a certain amount of chapters done if I'm going to get to the outlining phase for Act 3, if I want to finish outlining Act 3, to then bullet point out the first few chapters in Act 3 so that I can write them during my flight to Spain in 1 week time. And that's not healthy. We need to just, yeah. But I don't really know, like, how do I get over that? Because all of those things, even if they are putting this unnecessary pressure on me, they're still true. I want to have some good writing time while I'm traveling, and to do that I need to accomplish these things first. So what do I do about it? I don't want to take a break, but I feel like I should, but I don't. Ah. I wish I could draw some grand conclusion from this, but I honestly don't know what to do about this. I think the answer is just keep writing and do my best, because I'm not gonna get any more writing done by stressing about writing, so everything's fine. Hello there, happy Sunday. It is a gorgeous rainy day and I feel like I owe you a bit of a more positive writing update after last week. Me and Malin went on a little writing research trip yesterday in London, and we went to this exhibition on effectively magic, but also like demons and Satanism and a bunch of other stuff. Just all about the occult and like magic through history, I guess. But that was really fun because especially the first few rooms in that exhibition were really relevant to Project Voice, which is my side project. There were a bunch of bits on like druids and like Celtic customs and stuff like that that I found super interesting, and it made me really feel like working on Project Voice, which is not what we want. We are working on Project Sight and we're gonna finish Project Sight. But it's cool that I'm getting excited for the project that I'm working on after this at the same time. And there was also a little bit on like secret societies and stuff like that that Malin was more interested in for her writing projects, so it was a little bit there for both of us. And it was just like a really lovely day. So today, fueled with all of this writing energy from hanging out with writing friends and doing writing research, I gave the outline of Act 3 another go. I've mostly been brainstorming and just like trying to work out the little bits that I still need to know before I can put stuff into chapters. So there's a couple of world building elements that I still need to figure out. There's some plot holes I need to figure out. There's a lot of work that remains to be done. But I'm just trying to do enough work that it will see me through a week and a bit of writing when I'm traveling. So I was aiming for having enough plotting and outlining done that I can write one chapter per day when I'm there, which would be 9 chapters total. I'm fairly confident that I've got everything I need for the first 5 chapters now. So there's still 4 chapters left, but also being able to write 1 chapter per day is pretty optimistic. At those 5 initial chapters, one of them is brand new, and I think chapter 6, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I'm hoping to get to tomorrow morning before work, is also a brand new chapter, so both of those will keep me occupied for probably longer than a day. And worst case, if I run out of material, I can just do more brainstorming and more outlining while I'm traveling. It's not that big a deal, it's just a little bit annoying. I will be ending the vlog here because I really want to get this edited and scheduled for next week while I'm away, but I'm looking forward to being back, she says, not really looking forward to being back at work, but I'm looking forward to talking to you about how much work I get done during my holidays, and I'm really hopeful that this is going to help me catch up and that it's going to put me on track to finish the book by the end of the year, because that's really the ultimate goal. Feel free to catch me up on how your writing projects are going and where you're at with your various stories. I would love to know, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon for another video. Bye bye.